So over the past couple of months, Amazon came out with 2 notable software updates for the Kindle, and one of them in particular is really not sitting well with me, even though most people online are posting about how much they love it. The update I'm referring to is the recent overhaul they did to the Kindle web browser. If you've ever tried using the web browser on a Kindle before, you know how terrible of an experience it was. Even if you load a website, a lot of the stuff just wouldn't look right. But with the recent overhaul that just happened, a lot of websites now are looking relatively normal. It's still a very slow experience, but at least now you can load most modern websites on the Kindle browser. Now, a lot of people online are talking about how awesome this new update is. They can finally do things like visit their favorite websites. I even saw one Reddit post of someone going to Google Voice on the Kindle browser so they can text people through Google, which was just mind-blowing to me. Just because you can do all of these things doesn't mean that you should. If you ask me, I'm very much against this whole browser overhaul, even the browser as a whole on the Kindle. A Kindle is meant to be a distraction-free device for reading books, and having a web browser that actually works now is tempting a lot of people to do things on their Kindle that defeats the whole purpose of owning a Kindle in the first place. Now, don't get me wrong, I do know there are some valid use cases of having a web browser. For example, you can now visit some of your favorite blogs and actually read articles the way they're intended, but I think this is walking a very fine line on what is considered distracting, and for someone like myself, if I know something is available to me, I have a really hard time resisting it, and this web browser is just another temptation that I have to resist. Now, I'm actually going to do something a bit more proactive about this and do something that most people probably won't be doing. I'm going into my parental controls and adding a passcode lock for the web browser so I don't find myself entering that browser for distracting purposes. And I know most people probably won't do that, but for me, sacrificing the browser as a whole is well worth it to keep my Kindle as a distraction-free device. That to me is the most important thing, and I would not want anything to give that up. Now, the other notable update that happened on the Kindle was a fresh coat of paint to the Goodreads integration on the Kindle. Now, similar to the web browser, Goodreads is one of those things that could be very distracting on your Kindle. If you don't know what Goodreads is, it's basically a social media platform for bookworms, and they had it directly on the Kindle. But with this recent update, I'm actually really happy with how they did this. They're actually removing some of those distracting elements and making Goodreads a lot more functional and a lot more focused. Now, this update was a bit special and unique compared to all the other Kindle updates I've seen. They actually sent out an email to me and a lot of other people who own a Kindle, letting them know that this feature was being updated in the near future. And what they basically did was remove all the social elements of the Goodreads app on the Kindle. So there's no longer this news feed on your Kindle with all the recent updates from all your friends. You can't even access your friends list anymore on the Goodreads app on the Kindle. So they're removing all these social elements and keeping it locked down to a very specific set of features. Now, I actually really love Goodreads and using the social elements to find new books to read. I found so many new books through adding friends on Goodreads and going through all the recent updates. And you can still do that on the website, on the computer if you want to. But I think a better way of finding more books to read is actually by joining a book club. Being part of a book club is a great way to have some extra accountability to read books that you actually want to finish. It's also a great way to find and discover new books that are suggested to the whole book club. And I actually have my own book club called Presently Reading. If you're interested in reading a nonfiction book with me and 1,000 other bookworms every single month, we have a community of bookworms that is just so much fun. We read some really great books every month. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to learn more. So with this recent Goodreads update, when you open up the Goodreads app on your Kindle, you're going to be brought to your own profile instead of a feed of recommendations, which I think is a great step in the right direction. Instead of seeing a lot of recommendations and random updates from your friends, you're now going to be seeing all the books that you've already saved to your own personal bookshelves. Now, the way Goodreads works is you have 3 primary bookshelves. You have your currently reading, your want to read, and your read. And I love how these books now are front and center. I always add books to my want to read but I don't often go through that list afterwards. So having this as a primary front and center feature now in my profile when I go to the Goodreads app just makes it a lot more likely that I'll be going to visit these old books that I saved from before. If you want to, you could also go to the search bar in the Goodreads app on the Kindle and still search for a specific book and see the book reviews, leave ratings. All of that stuff is also still there, and I really do like the rating feature as well because I rate all the books that I read, and I find a lot of books from friends who rate their books, and I find the best books that they've read. So I definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't already. And one additional feature that I found through this update, which I think was probably there before, but I didn't know about until now, is the ability to save your book progress on Goodreads while you're reading a book on your Kindle. So what I mean by that is when you're reading on the Kindle, you can press on the 3 dots on the top right, and then go to the share button and then share to Goodreads. And what that's gonna do is share your current percentage through the book to your Goodreads profile. So you have a log of how far you are into the book on any given date as often as you press that button, which is really great if you're, say, part of a book club or you just wanna share with your friends how far you are into a book, or just for your personal tracking even. It's just really nice to save those progress markers as you're reading through a book. Now, between the web browser and this Goodreads update, I'm just happy to see Amazon doing something on their Kindle lineup. We haven't really seen many normal Kindle software updates. The Kindle Scribe got a lot of attention this year, but all the other Kindles haven't really gotten much of an update. So I'm just happy to see something happening on the Kindle. Now, if you enjoy learning about the web browser and Goodreads, I want to suggest my other video that includes 15 must-know Kindle tips and tricks. The web browser and Goodreads are really nice features, but there are a lot of other features that you should also know about that are way more important in my opinion. Link for that video on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.